Thank you.
Emanuela, over to you. Begin sharing your screen.
Sure. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Good morning, good afternoon to everyone. My name is Emanuela Michi, and today I'm a co-coach for this session. And this session is going to center around resume building and company profile building as well. And after which the main coach for this session would be Rachel, and Rachel will take us through using LinkedIn pages. So let me just introduce myself briefly. My name is Emanuela. As I mentioned earlier, I'm a current student at Carnegie Mellon University, studying a Master of Science in Information Technology with a concentration in applied machine learning and a minor in software engineering, and also a member of Coders Who Travel. So I'm Ghanaian, and before I came to Carnegie Mellon University, I was a part of Coders Who Travel, and that's where I met Ifya, and that's how come today I'm here as a co-coach. So I'm happy to take this first session, and I really hope you would enjoy and learn something from this. So I just want to give a brief outline of what I'll be talking about today. I will start with what a resume or a CV is. Then also I'll talk about the differences between these two because they are not the same thing. Then I'll talk about some types of resumes and then go into a typical structure of a resume and how you can write about your experiences. My next sections will cover the do's and don'ts of resume writing, and then I'll dive briefly into how to write, how to build a company profile, starting from what a company profile is, and give some examples of a company profile, and then give the general structure of a company profile. Then I'll allow you to ask me questions if there are any. Okay, so let's get started. My first topic is what a resume is, and it's common knowledge that some people mostly confuse what a resume and a CV is, because definitely they are similar in some sense, and you can look at both of them as a document that speaks for you in your present, or in your absence, when searching for a job, or at any point in time, if you're not present to answer about your work experience and whatever it says about you, your resume and your CV can do that for you. It's a snapshot of all your academic records, interests, your expertise, your job history, really. And it's supposed to demonstrate or show your successes, your strengths, and some of your accomplishments and your results. Also, a CV or a resume can set a tone for a conversation or professional relationship, especially during a recruitment process. So at any point in time, if you apply for a job, and your resume can set a tone for various conversations that can take place during the recruitment process. And it also demonstrates what you can offer to a future employer. So for those of you who don't know what a resume or a CV is, I hope that this explanation has been able to debunk what a resume or a CV is. Now, I want to come to the difference. Like I said, even though they are similar in some sense, a resume is different from a CV. Now, the main major difference is with regards to the length and the content of these two documents. So a resume basically, I'll touch on what a resume is, then I'll dive into what a CV is. So a resume is an introduction of oneself, and it just gives a brief overview of who you are, and it's very brief. It's a short document, and it summarizes your work experience, your education, your skills, your accomplishments. And it's typically 1 or 2 pages. A resume should not span more than 2 pages. So it's very brief. It's just a very brief snapshot of your entire work experience. And a resume should highlight relevant things about you that you would want your employer or a prospective recruiter to know about you. And it's organized according to your skills in the order of relevance. And it's also usually it's also usually tailored to a particular job description. So you can have different resumes for different jobs that you apply for. For instance, if you've worked in different roles over your course of your professional life, you might have different resumes that highlights your different roles that you've taken up at different points in time. So it's more focused and career tailored, or tailored towards a particular job description. However, a CV is an accumulation or amalgamation of everything you've done over your course of your life. So a CV is lengthier, bulkier, and it is generally just a comprehensive view of your entire career or your academic background. So really everything you've done, your entire background, your entire achievements, your entire job history is contained in your CV, and is very detailed and long, and the minimum is 2 pages. So your resume, your CV can actually span 15 pages, and it's allowed because it's a curriculum vitae, and it's sorry, I didn't say what CV stands for, but CV stands for curriculum vitae, and it's just a very big document that sums up everything about you. Okay, so one major difference as well is that a CV is organized according to time, and is organized in reverse chronological order. That means you start from your oldest experiences and build up to your most recent, as opposed to in a resume, you start with your most recent down to your oldest. So that's one distinct difference between a resume and a CV. Also, a CV is more general and it's not fit to purpose. So for instance, if you're using your CV to apply for a job, you would not tailor that CV to fit the job you're applying for. A CV just contains everything about you, and it captures your entire career and life experiences and academic experiences as well. So now I've put down 3 different types of resumes that we have. The first one is the chronological resume, which is the most common resume type that people use. And this is more structured around your work history, and it starts from your most recent to your oldest, like I said. The second type of resume is a functional or a skill-focused resume. And this really highlights a particular person's or your relevant skills and experiences. And it's mostly ideal for students, recent graduates, and people who are seeking career changes, who don't have a lot of work experience for the role they're applying for. So in some sense, a functional resume would also use the chronological resume structure, because you'd want to list your skills and experiences in order of most recent to your oldest. However, a functional resume is just tailored to outlining your skill sets, and it's for people who don't have a lot of work experiences. However, there's also a third type of resume, which is a combination of both, where you have a chronological resume that's spanning all your experiences in reverse chronology, and also outlining your skill set. So these are the types of resumes that we have, and I just put down here an example of a functional resume. So this is just a placeholder person, just a random name. Sorry, a random name, and this is a recent grad from Blue Crest University. So her education has been listed here briefly, and her experiences have also been listed here briefly. If you can see, this person doesn't have a lot of experience. Her oldest experience dates back to 2019, and what is highlighted here are her skills, her interests, and awards. So it's functional because it's highlighting her skills. Any recruiter that looks at it just picks up her skills and her short experiences, as opposed to listing or focusing so much on her work experience, which she doesn't have much of. So that's why this can be considered as a functional resume. Now, a combinatorial resume is one that's combining both the chronological resume and the functional one, where you're really going into detail and listing everything you've done, and your experience can date as far back as as far back as you'd want the recruiter to know. So you list a lot of experiences, but then you zero down on your skill sets and your interest in every other thing. Sorry. Okay, so the next thing I'd like to talk about is what should you really include in your resume, or what should be the default structure of a resume. You might want to, the first part is you might want to add a personal statement or a summary that really summarizes everything that you're about. And this is optional. Not everybody adds this part to their resume. It's very optional, but it's encouraged. Like it's good to add a personal statement or a summary of really everything you've done. So even if somebody takes your resume and doesn't want to go through the details, can just read something about you. And then you definitely have to add your academic background. You have your resume should speak about your academic qualifications and also your professional and work experience. You should be able to add at least a work experience, because it helps the recruiter know, or whoever is going to employ you, know that you have relevant work experience that will help you succeed in the job you're applying for. Also, another section you might want to add is skills, and you might want to detail both technical and soft skills, and it's advisable to maybe separate these into these different categories. Also, you might want to add your achievements and awards. Say you've been given any recognition for anything you've done. It might be community service, it might be a technical award, maybe a certification, really anything that's maybe can be a scholarship, really anything that fits an achievement or an award can be added to your resume. And also you might want to state your interest briefly, or areas that you're interested in your resume. So that's the basic structure of a resume. And I just put a picture here to give an idea of the structure, the generic structure of a resume. You have your header, which contains maybe your name, your full name, your profession, your email address, your phone number. If you are technical, maybe your portfolio or anything, any other external resources you'd want the recruiter to have access to, you include to your header. Then you have your summary, which just summarizes everything really on your CV, but doesn't go into much detail, just a brief summary of everything on your CV. Then you talk about your education, which you might want to add the school. Sorry, just struggling with control here. Okay, so for the education section, you might want to add your school, the school you attended, the degree you got out of the school. If you are yet to graduate, you can add your expected graduation date. Sometimes it's not a good idea to add your GPA, but it's completely optional. If your GPA is good enough, you can add it, but if it's not, you might not want to highlight that part to your recruiter. So it's optional to leave out your GPAs, your minor, your major, and relevant courses, and also relevant work experience. And the keyword here is relevance, because if you're applying a resume, like I said, is tailored to a specific job description. So you might not want to add a work experience that doesn't tie to the job you're applying for. If you're applying for a sales job and you even have experience with I don't know, experience with website building or any technical experience, you might not want to add that, because that's not necessarily directly relevant to the job you're applying to. So you might have a collection of job experiences. So you might want to pick out relevant ones that would help you stand out from the pool of applicants. You should also add relevant skills that detailing the skills that you're proficient in to your recruiter, and also other things like your volunteering, your volunteering experience, your certifications, awards, and interests. So this is a basic structure of a resume. Now, the challenging part of writing a resume is not the header and maybe the summary, but for the summary, you can just look at everything you've written and just come up with a paragraph or two. But for most people, the challenging part or the most important part is how you really write, or what you write under your experiences. And because that's what recruiters zero in on. Yes, your education is important and everything, but you don't really have much to write about your education. You're not going to talk about your courses. It's your work experience that recruiters and hiring managers will look at. So you need to write about your experiences in a way that really sets you apart from other applicants. So I just want to talk briefly about how you might want to write your experiences or your work experience. The first thing is you might want to ask yourself these questions and put down your answers. For instance, if I'm applying for a sales role, and in the past I was a sales manager, and maybe I was a sales agent for a particular company, and I want to list that as my experience, what I want to do is I'll ask myself, what did I do during my time as a sales agent in say company XYZ? And once I identify what I did and I can write that into one line or a sentence, I'll ask myself, how did I do that? How did I carry out this task? And then I have to write that down and maybe ask myself why I did what I did that way and what were the results. So these are questions you should ask yourself about every single one of your experiences. And this will help you to write down a comprehensive summary about your experiences in your resume. Okay, so now I put out a little formula to help you. There are 3 different ways you might want to approach writing about your experiences. As I ask yourself those questions, you can craft your experiences using the formula. You use an action verb, then you qualify your task, and then you quantify your task as well. So that's the first formula. For instance, like I said, if you work somewhere, I gave an example, train 50 participants to utilize technologies, including Google Suites, which boosted their interest and confidence. That's maybe a point in my experience as, what job title can I give? Your experience as a trainer or a conference trainer or coach or anything. And what's happening here is that you start with an action verb, which really tells, you start with an action verb, which really speaks about what exactly you did. Then you try to qualify, I skipped, but let me talk about the qualification. For instance, when I said utilize technologies, including Google Suites, I could have written it broadly and said I just utilized technologies which boosted participants' confidence. But then qualifying it and being specific and saying I used Google Suites is the qualification parts that you need to include in talking about your experiences. For instance, if you were a sales agent and you sold 200 copies of a company's brochure, you might want to qualify how you did a sales. You might want to add something through email marketing or through video marketing or through door-to-door campaign. That's qualifying the task and making it specific and telling the recruiter how exactly you accomplished that task. And also it's good to quantify. So like the recent example I gave, I sold is my action verb, 300. So be specific and you can say, you can specify that in percentages. Maybe you say I sold 50%, I sold 60% of the company's brochure through door-to-door campaigns. So in the first formula, you need to have an action verb, you need to qualify your task, you need to quantify it and quantify the results. So the second formula also is pretty much the same thing, almost the same thing. You have an action verb, you talk about what you did, and then you specify the results. And the third one is also you start with an action verb, you talk about what you did. So generally, you can just give a brief summary of what you did. For instance, I was an intern. I interned at a company where I built a mobile application. So I could just say built a mobile application using Flutter and Android to help. So I'm just talking about what the application does, and why I did it would be to help electronic billing officers collect or gather data on taxpayers. So I've not really quantified anything, I've not qualified anything, but I've been able to talk about what I did and why I did it. So these are the general formulas you can use to help you talk about your experiences and go into details. Yeah. Okay, so now I want to talk about some of the do's and don'ts of resume writing. I would start with do's and then later move into the don'ts. So definitely when you are writing your resume, like I said, the resume is tailored to the particular job you're applying for. Make sure to research on the company, research on the job, research on maybe the recruiter, and personalize your resume to that specific job that you're applying for. So don't just send in any resume to any job that you are applying for without having to go through and making sure that the experiences on your resume match up to what the job description requires. Also, as much as possible, include numbers and figures. I'm talking about do. So include numbers and figures. Quantify the results of all your experiences so that it just tells a recruiter that this is somebody I can employ who would bring XYZ to the company and you can actually carry out these stuff. But if you just give generic say I did this without really quantifying the results that came out of it, it might not make you stand out from other applicants. Also, don't just tell or don't just say things. Show them by giving examples, show them by giving quantifying them, like giving percentages, like this 60%, 65% of this. Also, do not just list job duties. A common thing is people go to, when you're applying for a job, you just copy the requirements of the job that you're applying for, the job description, and then just paste that into your CV. Don't do that. Just don't list the job duties in the job description and paste in your resume. And also be clear, concise, and straight to the point. Use simple English and not big vocabularies. The recruiters are not looking to mark your grammar or anything, but they're not looking to be impressed by your grammar. What they actually want is to know that you're somebody who can actually do the job. So be simple, be as simple as possible with your language. Okay, you'd have to forgive me with switching slides. Yeah. Also, a few other do's are use strong action words like introduced, developed, managed, created. These help to make your resume stand out. Also, you might want to include keywords. For instance, if you are applying for a job, some companies use algorithms to filter out resumes. So adding keywords to your resume can help your resume stand out from a pool of applicants. Also, proofread your resume, check your grammar, your tenses, your typos. And one way of making sure you are good on all of these is maybe to ask someone to go over, maybe 2 or 3 people to go over your resume and proofread that for you, so that you are sure that you are submitting something that is free of errors. Because the last thing anybody wants to see is a resume that is full of errors. That can be a very quick put off or turn off for most recruiters. Okay, so now to don'ts. First thing is, do not write in first person. Do not say things like I did, I trained, I conducted. It just shows that it might come off as showing that you are not somebody who works in a team. Even though maybe you did most of the work, you might just want to say trained, conducted, did. Don't use I, don't use a lot of personal pronouns. Just be generic, not like generic, but just go straight to the point and say trained, conducted. I mean, that's the lingua of resumes. That's what most people used to, that's how most people write in the verbs to depict what they do. And also, don't use fancy fonts and formatting. Keep it simple and as simple as possible. Some of the recommended fonts are Times New Roman, Arial, Calibri. Don't use cursive fonts that might be difficult to read, because sometimes recruiters would print out your resume, and if it's not legible enough, that even disqualifies you. And also take note of your font sizes. You don't want things to be disproportionate on your resume. Your header should be within 12 to 14 points. Your body should be within 10 to 12 points, and you should have a margin from, give a sizable margin. You don't make your resume have too big of margins that everything, now you have your resume has to overflow 2 pages. You have to make sure like everything looks proportionate on the page and everything is easy to read. And yeah. So now I'd like to move to the final part of my presentation, which is talking about a company profile. Now, a resume and a CV is for personal individuals, and a company profile, basically, you can think of a company profile as a resume of a large organization or a company. So it's basically a professional introduction, and it informs people about the company's product, services, and its current status. Now, if you have a company and you have a good profile, it's an opportunity to set your company apart from the others. And it's a company profile usually is people's first points of contact when they want to read anything about your company. Now, most people, or nowadays, companies use as their company profiles, or companies add their company profiles to their websites, because now if you want to check out any company, because of the internet and because of websites, you could just go online and Google about any company. So now we don't have company profiles in documents, we rather have them on websites. So I guess I just put a couple of company profiles. You might not know that that's a company profile, but when you go on most companies' websites, you have an About Us button that you can click on, or a who are we button. Usually companies call them different things, but basically the summary is those are company profiles. Anything that talks about the company's mission, vision, and history, demographics, that's a company profile. So in creating one, you might want to think about adding these things. First of all, to create a really good company profile, have a mission statement. That's very important. That helps people to know what your company is about, where you're headed, and where you even stand now, your general mission. And then you can add a history of the company, when it was founded, who was founded by, and also give a brief overview of your products and services. And you might want to also add any awards and recognition. It makes your profile stand out from the others, gives you some credibility. You might also want to add testimonials and also demographics. Demographics center around maybe your diversity percentage rate of like how many women to men are working in your company, where you're located. And yeah, and then finally your contact information. So unlike personal like resumes and CVs, company profiles are more general and tend to capture everything about a company just in one page. You don't want to bore or overwhelm whoever is looking at your company profile with so much information. You might want to just summarize and generalize and things, and yes, summarize with numbers. That's what most companies do. They just add numbers and then say we've had this much impact, 30% impact, we've reached 1,000. So as much as possible, you want to use numbers and generalize when creating your company profile. Okay, so that brings me to the end of my presentation. And now I'll take any questions you may have.
Yeah, let's show some love. I forgot to do this for Andrea, but there's a reaction button, a smiley face with a plus sign. Please show some love to Ella and Andrea. What excellent presentations we've had. Thank you. Thank you so much. Are there any questions? If not, I would appreciate moving on to Rachel's presentation. Rachel, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Afia. Thank you so much, everyone, for having me. So I am really excited about this program, and I will be sharing insight to you today about how important it is to grow your business using LinkedIn. So thank you once more. A brief introduction of myself will be done after the presentation. So this is just for us to prepare our minds and digest all of the information that I'll be sharing today on how important the LinkedIn page is and how important it is to use LinkedIn as one of the tools for growing not just your business but also your profile uh, locally and internationally. Now, if you look through this slide, you see a typical LinkedIn page here. My section today is going to have the theoretical part, which we're having now, and the practical. The theory is just talking you through what a LinkedIn page is and how to create it. And then we'll go on to the practical section to show you how to create a LinkedIn page and how to use it effectively to grow your business or grow your products or grow your service or even grow your brand. Over here is a LinkedIn page, a typical LinkedIn page. This is how it looks like, quite different from a profile page of a LinkedIn. So if you see here, it has all of the options around home, content, analytics, activity. And I'll share more insight on what each function does. And then if you come here, you'll see more about the admin tools and how to view as an admin and as a member. Now, what is a LinkedIn page? This is an organization's hub on LinkedIn. It's just like an office. It's independent of you as the person and independent of that work you're trying to portray to the world. And although there are ways to strategically connect them, which I'll show you, but they're different. So whether it's a business, a school, a non-profit, or whatever brand you're trying to push out there, it's really important to define your brand's identity, voice, purpose through this platform, because that's the only way people can get to see what you're doing and even measure your success. When people want to learn about your organization, the first thing they do, or when you search on Google, the first thing that people see on the algorithm is your LinkedIn or maybe Facebook. So for me, I may not have a Wikipedia page, but the first thing people see on my page, on my Google search result, is my name and my LinkedIn page, where they can actually follow me if they wish or not. So that's basically what a LinkedIn page does to you. It brings you out of that hidden scene where you are. Now, if you look here, you see that there are different, how would I put it? There are different functionalities that the business page has with a personal page. If you look here, you see the difference. This is a LinkedIn page. This is my personal page. So there are two different things, like I showed you initially. Over here, you see that I have things around my network, jobs. It's just about me. Well, here it's about us, and it has everything that has to do with my work in terms of the number of visitors that visited my page, analytics. It has your functionalities around the products, the content, the activity, like who has liked your page, who hasn't, who is sharing your posts on your LinkedIn page. These are the beautiful benefits that you get from a LinkedIn page. So now this is basically the highlights. The LinkedIn page represents collective organizations. So it could be like you have a conglomerate of organizations, private, public, just having all of them together. While your personal page represents you, just you. And then the LinkedIn profile has connections, but your LinkedIn page has followers. So you see the difference. It's just like you have an Instagram page. So that's how a LinkedIn page, but the only difference is that it's more professional and has to do with business or has to do with what you're trying to promote in the long run. And then in your LinkedIn page, you can run ads. On the personal page, no. So I would also show you how to run ads on LinkedIn as well. On your personal page, you have a profile where you can actually see things around what you're doing. For example, you want to put up an article or you want to put up a post. So that's the difference. And then the personal profile has things like your activity, your experience, like I mentioned, your endorsement. So that's quite different from a LinkedIn page. You don't have all of this information. And then one important commonality is that they are free. you don't have to pay a dime. The only time you have to pay a dime is if you want to sponsor your LinkedIn page, just the way you sponsor Facebook posts and you get likes, or you get a call to action to visit a website. That's the only difference. I'll move over to the next. So over here, you'd see that I'm trying to let you know when to use each type of page. In this angle, you'll see, of course, situations vary. There are no blanket answers, but here is some of the guidelines. Whether you should put an energy into building a page for your brand as opposed to promoting through your own member profile. But the beauty of it is that through your member profile, like your personal page, you can create a LinkedIn page. And this is what it looks like. So I'll show us more during the practicals, but this is basically what it looks like. Now, how to shift or shifting from your personal to business. So there's some steps you need to follow. I believe all of us will get this slide after now so that we can use this to guide through, and when we do the practical, it's more clearer. But you need to follow these steps. Follow the 3-step by completing your page process as laid out in the action plan guide. So what you do is that you have to post content to your page that is relevant to your target audience. So basically, I run a non-profit organization for people with disability. And one of the things that we do is that we post information around our work. When we have programs, projects, it's there. When we have announcements, share, even articles, we put it on our page. So that way, when you have a community of followers, they can reshare your posts from that LinkedIn page to their own member profile. And that gives your page more visibility, because if someone, maybe like Richard Branson, sees or likes your post on your page and he puts it on his own member page, it gives you a wider reach of people that can reach you at one time. And then another thing is that you can send a one-time mail to your customer list or your followers, letting them know that you have started or reinvested in your page. So that's the beauty. I'm going to show us how that works. When you invite people from your own personal, so if you have like 10,000 followers or 10,000 connections on your personal page, you can invite those 10,000 connections to like your page, and that automatically improves your followers, improves your visibility, because when you share something that's relevant to one follower and they share it on their page, it's a replicative success. And that means when one person shares, the other is likely for 3 or 2 more persons to share if it's really engaging and interesting. Now, if you have any employee or business partner, encourage them to complete these steps as well. I know we are different or diverse, of diverse backgrounds here, but it's very important that you have a LinkedIn page because the world is shifting to this level. And tailor your personal page after these examples, which I'll show with you very soon. Okay. Now, getting started. This is basically how it works. The first thing first, there's a part on the right part of the LinkedIn page. When you go to your home, you see a work icon on the top right corner of the LinkedIn homepage. When you go there, click there, you go under it, you see create a company page. You would also select this option. Sorry, can you guys see my screen? Afia, please, could you confirm that?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to be sure because it feels like I'm not seeing people see my screen. So you also select this option to create a page. Maybe you want
hold on. Are you already on the LinkedIn homepage? Is that the one you want to show?
No. I'm not on practicals yet. I'm still on theory. So when I'm done with this, I'll show you my page and how to create it. Yeah, so but I just want to be sure that we're on the same page. So creating a company page, you have to select to create a page for maybe a school, an NGO or business. This is basically what you see, the categories you see when you're trying to create a page. When you enter your page identity and the information details, you check the verification box to confirm if you have the right to act on behalf of that company. Because if, for example, you're not you don't have that company on your personal member page or your profile, then you may not have the right to act on that page. But if you have that company, for example, when you go to your profile page, people put their work experiences, they put where they are working at. So for example, you don't put that thing on your member working on your profile. It won't reflect on this when you're trying to click or create a page, because you're just going to make, like, you're going to build castles on sand. That's what it means. So that means you have to have a foundation by putting your LinkedIn, maybe, like, for example, my organization's name is Initiative for National Growth. That is what the LinkedIn page would derive data from to create my page, because it's already on my member page. So that's basically what it looks like. So I'll move to the next slide. And then we'll move over to the practicals. And then questions as well. I'm having issues with my connectivity. Okay. So before questions, I'm going to stop sharing. Okay. And I will share again for you to see my page. Okay. Okay, can you all see my page? Can you see my screen?
Yes, Rachel.
Thank you. So now I'm going to go to my profile, my home page, and show you what I was talking about. So this is home. And on the home, this is me clicking on the icon. If you have your phone, if you have a laptop, this is the best time to just learn and soak through what I'm saying, so that as I'm talking through, it's clear, it's practical for you. This is what my page looks like. Okay. On my page, you see clearly my organization. My organization is here. If you come down, you see it here, because I indicated it, and then now website or information. So now if I have to create a page from the scratch, I don't have a page, it's new to me, I'll click here on work. Can you see it here on the right part of your screen? Just click on work, click down, you come down, and you see create a company page, where I'm hovering my mouse. You click on the plus sign, and when you click on that, it takes you to what I showed you earlier: small business, medium, showcase, education. So who wants us to try something new? Let's do it together. Do you want us to try small business, medium, showcase page, or education? Which of them do you want us to try? Should we try small?
Yes, small businesses.
Anyone want to go first? Okay, perfect. So we'll click on
Other
small.
than me, anybody has any other thoughts? I think the small business is suitable for this audience.
Okay, thank you. So now you have this with you, and then let's give us a name. So let's put Coders Who Travel Accra, maybe. Do we have that on LinkedIn already? Afia, can you confirm that?
Hold on. Let's do Ahafo. AHAFO. Coders Who Travel Ahafo. No. Coders Who Travel. There's no U.
Okay.
There's no U.
Okay. All right.
No, you left the U. Is O. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Can you stop making it capital letters?
Okay. All right. That's fine. So I mean, it depends on you. If you want it in caps, if you want it, it depends on whatever you want to do. But we're just having this as a guinea pig. So for example, we have a website. So we say www.coderswhotravel.com, and we come down to the industry. So what industry is Coders Who Travel We know it's about technology. We know it's about education. What do you want us to put? Information and technology or information services?
The information technology and services we do, or education.
Okay.
I think we align more with
Okay.
education than.
Okay. Okay. Let's do
If you can
education
find it,
management then.
okay.
And then the company side, based on ideally the number of people who are in your organization. So I would tell people just go for 2 to 10. With time you can always edit it. So you just maybe put 2 to 10. And then the company type, we know it's a non-profit, I guess, or is it privately held?
Non-profit.
Okay then. And then we come down. We can decide to choose a logo. So I'll just put something here, just to give us a flash of what we're doing. We'll click here.
Rachel, what's a logo?
And then the logo is uploading.
For some of our
My logo?
What does a logo mean?
Okay, thank you. So a logo is your organization's identity or brand. So let me give you examples of logo. When you look at MTN, I'm sure many of us use MTN communications, right? Or maybe Etel or Ecosoft or whatever telecommunications we use to make our calls. The first thing you see is what? In MTN, you see yellow, right? That's their brand, that's their logo. That's basically what MTN is true to. So a logo means your identity. It could be about the color, it could be about the message you're trying to pass, but you would never see MTN go on green. Never. You would never see MTN go on orange, but you always see them go on yellow. And then they will create something like this that looks like, a yellow logo. Let me see if I can. I don't want to go back, but I wanted to show you examples of what a logo looks like. I don't know. Can you guys see my screen? I'm diverted.
Yeah, we can see
can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So now, can you see all of this logo? Can you see that you have letter Mac, abstract, word Mac, eBay, Apple? You see this Apple? This is Apple's logo. Whenever you see this, you know it's Apple. This is Apple. Apple would never change it unless they come out publicly to say we are changing our brand. Just like Facebook came out a week ago and said we're changing from Facebook to Meta. That's basically, but that doesn't change their logo. Maybe not, but they will let us know, get more information to us. But that's basically what a logo looks like, a pictorial mark. Like, what is your identity? What can people know you about? The same thing with Google. Can you see Google? Google would never change unless they come out public to say, hey, we're changing. Facebook, Disney, FedEx, Kellogg's, Coca-Cola. These are brands and these are their logo and their identity. So are we clear with logo now?
Yes.
Thank you. Now we move over to the business of today. We've said non-profits. We come down and then we give it a tagline. So can you see the example here? Can you see it's not much? An example here shows a family-run accounting firm that promises you won't lose sleep over filing your taxes. Now, you have to put out a capturing tagline that can make people understand why you're on LinkedIn as a company page. So it could be like a non-profit educational technology organization promoting inclusive digital inclusion for let's just say for the potential workforce in Africa.
I really like this, by the way.
Yeah, yes. Or because it's 120 characters, we have to reduce it. So I'll just say edutech. Edutech. Can you see?
Yes.
We've given it a snapshot. A non-profit edutech organization promoting inclusive digital inclusion for the potential workforce in Africa. Very clear, strong message. Now, when you're done with that, you click on verify. The moment you click on verify and you come here and click on create page, then you've created your page for real. So you see, it's so easy to maneuver. It's so super beautiful to have a LinkedIn page. Okay?
Yeah,
so are we clear on that?
Let's just create that. We can always delete it, right? So they see how it.
It's always hard. It's always hard to delete. Oh
Oh,
God, I
it's hard
tried
to
to.
delete.
You have to like go. I mean, it takes like maybe like 30 days for LinkedIn to get back to you and say we've deleted it. So yeah, I don't want to have copyright issues. Yeah. So, but
Okay.
this is super easy. When you do this, it now becomes like this. Let me click for you what it would look like if we created a page. So I'm going back to my profile, and if I created that page, it will now look like this. It will have the logo like I told you about. It will be here. Then we'll have to put in another picture at the background. Depends on what you want to put that depicts what your organization is all about. So it could be a picture of students who are coding with their laptops. You can put that at the background. It could be a picture of students who are doing things around robotics. It depends. But I decided to put this because I love it. These are people who are blind, who are actually having sports. We were training them on sports. They enjoyed it. These are blind young adults. And it's been here for over 4 years. So basically, your page, I'm going to go back to the techniques. When you have this kind of technique now, the next thing is to look at the home, the content, analytic, and the activity. Now, this is the home page. This is what it looks like. Okay? And then for content, you click on this place. Under content, you see things around what you post. Okay, and who you are. So over here you see things around what is trending around your industry, the employee milestone. There's none yet. We haven't put anything like that yet. Our company news, they are all here. So that's basically what your content looks like. And then analytics, it can now make you see the number of visitors that visit your page. So you click on visitors. The first thing you're seeing is that 141 people have viewed your page. This is 67% up, and then the LinkedIn will give you the time frame that these people have come. So between 6th of October to 5th of November, these are the people. That's 1 month. These are the people who have visited here, and then the unique visitors and the click button. You can see all of the algorithm here. It gives you a dashboard of the people who have been visiting your page. So here I now know that people that visit my page are operations, people in the operations industry, people in the information industry. You can see the percentage, the business development. This is it. So the least people who visit my page are researchers, as you can see here. Okay, and then when you come here to activity, it gives you a clear cut of what you're doing in your page. So over here you see people who are commenting, who are putting up things about your page, who are sharing, resharing. This is basically, and then I mean it's really important because that defines what you're doing. So here Google Chrome mentioned our page on their page. I'll click on the article so you can just see through, because we were featured as Google lead takers, because our organization was using IT as one of the best models in the world for people with disability. So you can see Google Chrome featured our page. So we quickly shared it on our own page, and we also commented, about this as well, and then they liked it, yeah. So that's the engagement that you see when you post things on your page. Very, very interactive engagement. So I'm going to go back to this, and I will come here to admin tools. So under admin tools, this is how it looks like. You click on this place. This is very interesting. I love this part. You don't have to spend any money to get people to like your page the way you do on Facebook or Instagram. So the first thing first is that you click on invite location connections, because you know you have a lot of people in your network. So you click on this and you can invite people. Just invite them, come and like my page, okay? So you can click on them. You can click on this, on this, on this, you know, to like your page. The only thing is that there's a limit of 100. You can't do more than 100 in a day. And when it's more than 100, the next thing is that you have to wait for maybe another 15 to 30 days before you get another 100 credits to invite people. So that's how the role of LinkedIn is. It's not like you have to get them to be part of your page every day. 100 people every day, that's too much. So that's basically what I think. Mine is 17 coupons for now. Okay, I think it's more. Yeah, 17, because I've already done 100 before now. And I click on invite. So once it clicks on invite, automatically you have invited them. So it's your own choice if you want to start a post. Nobody's forcing you, but we don't usually subscribe to that. So you say no thanks and you move on. Now, another thing that's really interesting is sponsor and updates. So you click here. This space is also quite interesting but tricky. If you don't have the money, please don't do it, because LinkedIn, how will I put it, subscription for having a LinkedIn page is quite expensive compared to Facebook, Instagram, and all of the likes. So LinkedIn is quite expensive. So this is how it looks like. I have two pages. This is my account. This is basically what it looks like. You have to like click here, and then do all of the what do you call it, campaigning. Create a campaign here. So that's another topic for its own. I wouldn't advise you to go through that route for now. Just grow your page organically, and then from there you see how it grows. Another route that's quite interesting is posting a free job. So we click here. We've used this a couple of times to get some contractors or get subcontractors for our projects. So you click post a free job, and then here it takes you to how to put up a post on LinkedIn to get, like, when you see featured job posts, that's how it looks like. Okay, automatically takes you to how to create a job post on LinkedIn. So you see maybe like Coca-Cola advertising a post, or maybe Google or trying to create a post. That's basically how they do it. They come to this category and put up the job post. The last one we did was this, a grant specialist, hybrid, and then Lagos wanted, and then the contract was purely contract. We didn't want to do part-time or full-time, purely contract. You can even do for internships. You can do for volunteerism. You can do for temporary. You don't want them more than X amount of time. That's how it works. And then you can read more about how to get it done when you click on that particular icon, which is this. Like I mentioned, clicking here, post a free job. Okay. Now this is another interesting part. I'm just trying to be fast because of time. I know we have questions. If we do, I'm happy to respond. Now, posting creating an event, very interesting one. Click on that one. So for example, when we had an advert of this program that we're having today, I'm pretty sure most of us got it on LinkedIn. Probably not. But this is how it looks like. It's like you creating an event on Facebook. I'm sure many of us may have done Facebook events, creating Facebook events. So you just put the name. I can put Coders Who Travel. Grow your business with LinkedIn. And then I can put the timing, so I know that I'm on the West African time, so I can click sometime somewhere. I can just do any timing, doesn't matter. But you have to be specific because of your audience or the people you're trying to invite. So let's see if we have anything about West Africa here, or even London. Um, Great. And then we come down and look at the date. So today is 6th, maybe it's today, and we're having it sometime in the evening, maybe like 5:30 or 6. No, that's AM. We're doing PM. Let's do PM. 6 PM, which is later today. It's still valid. And then the end time is 7 PM. That's 1 hour. And then the description could be to provide free capacity building online workshop on LinkedIn business page, or example business stroke brand. Then you can also put the objectives. Participants would learn how to create a LinkedIn page and use the functionalities in a LinkedIn page to grow their businesses or brand. Simple. Don't put so much so that people are not confused. And then you put the speaker. So for example, the speaker is here. I have Afia. I can click here. Okay. I know I have a friend here called Frank Anati. I don't know if he's here. I can just click on him. It's not my friend, so I can't have him. So just you basically just put people that are your connections. But before then, you would have been able to connect with them. And when you connected with them on LinkedIn on your member page, automatically when you put their name here, their name will show. So maybe I put my name because I'm a member of this, so I put Rachel. So you see automatically our names are here. And then the visibility, I want it to be public. But if you want it private, you can click here. Depends on what you want, but I want people to see, I want people to come, I want them to learn. And then you could use a LinkedIn registration form, okay? But that one is something quite different from this. But if you don't want to, you remove that and put the online registration. So they're registering through Zoom. You put the Zoom LinkedIn registration, the Zoom link here. The Zoom registration link will be here, and then you click on create. Okay, and this is a broadcast. That means anybody that sees this as a this link, if you click here, they won't see it. But if you click here, it becomes like a broadcast, like a WhatsApp broadcast. People around your contact will get to see it. Okay, and then you click on create. Very simple. Okay, that's that. Yes, I want to discard. And then managing, okay, creating a showcase page. So let's just put a showcase page. This is basically different, a bit different. It's just like you showing a part of what your organization is all about.
I'm going to record the meeting so we can grab screenshots later, but I'm not doing it live.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I stopped at the excuse me, trying to get yeah, the admin tools. So I'm going to share my screen now so we can see it, and then we'll follow through from where we stopped. So let me know when you can see my screen. Can you?
Hold on. Yes.
Okay. So the next part is manage admin. So this is under setting. Now it's left to you to put people whom you trust, whom you know can become admin of this group. So over here you see that we have like 5 admin to this page. But I am like the one who's like the super admin. Every other person has their role, like content analyst and all of that. So put up some people whom you believe will be able to, um, give this platform, your page, visibility and make it really very attractive in terms of content and adverts and all of that information. And then if you want to deactivate your page, you're tired, oh I can't do this anymore, you click on this. Okay. Like I mentioned to you earlier, it takes a while, actually takes a while for them to actually deactivate. And if you can see here, they said they're sorry, they don't want to see you go, but you have to go. Okay, so that is where you click here, and it takes about few months or a month for it to be finally deactivated. Now I would stop here and give room for questioning so that we can use this time to reflect through what we've processed or digested, and our questions will help us to forge ahead what we want to do with our LinkedIn page, or how we want to start our LinkedIn page. So over to us for questioning. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel.
Are there questions? Anyone has question there? I can see some beautiful ladies seated looking at, I think through Leslie's screen. I can see some people. If you have any question, you can come towards the front and then ask me, or you can ask from your seats. Na Abia as well. I'm sure you have some students with you. If they have questions, please feel free to for them to share questions about the LinkedIn page, or even LinkedIn profile. If you want to ask around the LinkedIn profile, I'm willing to answer that as well.
I actually had a question, Rachel.
Thank you. Nah.
How often should you post? I'm always afraid that I'm going to spam my audience. So how often would you recommend posting either events or things related to your company, to your cause? And would you also include personal stuff in those posts?
I love that question, and I'm going to share with you my profile again and use that to answer your question. So if you look at my personal page or my member page, you'd see that I can track the number of people who has viewed my profile. And the reason is because okay, I actually made my private because I don't want people to see me when I check on theirs, and that makes you not to see people who check on yours. So forget about that. But if I was able to see people, it shows me the caliber of people who are interested in my work. It shows you the kind of people who are interested in your post as well. So for take an example, I'm going to show you the last post I had on my personal page. So here I got recognized by the U.S. Department of State with other African fellows for our leadership values and strength through the Mandela Washington Fellowship. And if you look at this post clearly, it does not have any personal inclination, but there was a lesson I was trying to pass. And if you read through it, you'd see that it had an angle of analogy, in the sense that even if I was celebrating this achievement, I was sharing a lesson of hope to other people who wanted to have this kind of award as well. So if you come here, there's nothing wrong in such posts. This is 3 weeks ago, okay? I'm going to show you another recent one. So if you come down to the most recent one of my posts, which I will share with you, and that was about last week. it talks about my presentation at the University of Virginia, where I was able to share with African young leaders civic engagements, the 21st century civil protest around powerful movements like NSARS in Nigeria, Black Lives Matter, Zimbabwean. I mean, it was really very engaging. And then these are pictures of the event in UVA and Baton School of Public Policy, and then Morven Park. It was really interesting. So you see, these are the kind of posts that we can post, and we can tell stories or weave stories around it, because that way people can connect fiction or deduce fiction from facts. So that's what makes you, as a LinkedIn member, grow your audience. You have people who see this, who want to share your posts, who want to reshare, who want to tweet, or even, because when you share, let me give you another synergy. When you share your posts, again to your question, you have the opportunity to share on Twitter as well, and Twitter has a lot of engagement as well. So you see the benefits that can be derived if you harness your posts. You can share every day, you can share weekly, but you have to be able to connect, with stories or impressions, or give people lessons that they want to learn around your posts. So about the personal part of your life, you don't have to share all the details. You could share your struggles, but in a professional manner. One thing I don't really like is when people put up posts like my wedding and anniversaries, or my dog just died, or I'm taking my dog to the vet, or I'm taking a walk. I mean, those things are not. I mean, yeah, people can draw some inspiration from them, but they may not have lessons that they want, or best practices that they want to learn from that post. But if you're able to share best practices around what you've done, how you did it, the struggles, people can actually relate, because it speaks to them. You're sharing to them what they also pass through, and they can connect. They would like your post, the reshare, the retweets. That way you're building your audience, and people will definitely want to look forward to you posting again and again, and that's where that enrichment continues. So my sister, to you, your question is valid. Keep on sharing, posting as much as you can. It's LinkedIn. It's a global world, and there's nothing wrong in sharing lessons that people can learn from their work or professional experience. So yes, I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does. And thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you so much, Rachel. I feel like I learned a lot, and I would definitely be checking our business page and looking at all those stats that you were sharing.